Hello, everyone. Happy Friday, or whichever day you're watching this on. My name is YAI Vargas, and I am founder of the Latinista. If this is your first time here and you're just coming across the Latinista, we are a network and a community for Latinas and women of color who are looking to up-level and upskill their professional selves and career. And so every single program that we host focuses on making sure that you don't have to go back to school, you don't have to get another degree, and you don't have to spend the time or the energy in learning a new skill. And so we do them in these crowdcast bites. This is going to be a short program today. I'm so excited that you're here. We're going to be focusing on LinkedIn 101. And so I'm really excited that you've joined us because LinkedIn is a platform that I have personally been using for 14 years. The reason why I started using LinkedIn was because I wanted a social media platform to be able to connect with people that I worked with. And I didn't feel comfortable connecting with those people, those coworkers, those colleagues, those people that you kind of knew because you saw them at networking events, but they weren't personal friends. And I didn't feel comfortable doing that on Facebook 14 years ago. And so that's why I really started using LinkedIn to be able to connect with people. And also a bonus was to be able to find mentors, get sponsors, and then of course apply and get jobs, which is something that I've done quite a bit for myself and for other people on LinkedIn. So I can't wait to hear any questions that you may have, but we're going to be together for maybe about 40 minutes. I'm going to share with you a little bit about why LinkedIn versus every other social media platform. And the reason why I put that in quotes is that I never really like to say that LinkedIn is a social media platform, but a professional media platform. It's very different from a Facebook, an Instagram, and a Twitter. When you connect with someone on LinkedIn, it's primarily and strictly focused on your career, articles in the industry, and making sure that you're making strategic connections with someone who could possibly help you land a job or someone who could possibly be your next manager in the next 6 months or in the next 6 years. I can't tell you the amount of people that I've connected with over the last 14 years that still end up popping up in my life in the most unexpected ways. And so I'll tell you a little bit about how I use LinkedIn, the reasons as to why you should engage on LinkedIn, what kind of messages to send. And if you're looking for a job, I'm going to show you my screen so that I can show you exactly where to start positioning yourself and what some of those strategies are. Now I'm going to share my screen. Right over here. I'm going to share my screen, of course. And here we are. I want to tell you a little bit more about the Latinista. As I mentioned before, I founded the Latinista 9 years ago, and it's for Latina professionals who are looking for upskilling opportunities. The types of programs that we host are how to be a confident public speaker, how to get your LinkedIn and resume ready for a career transition, how to invest in the stock market, what is a 401k, should you open up a brokerage account, right? It's always been our mission to make sure that Latina professionals have somewhere to go to learn something new that makes them a more professional and productive individual. And so I want to share with you our workshop agenda. I'll share with you a little bit more why LinkedIn versus any other social media platform. I'm going to talk to you about your unique value proposition. What that means is what makes you different than every other account director or teacher or graphic designer out there on LinkedIn. Why should people connect with you rather than anyone else that does your same job? And then we're going to talk about curating your professional brand on LinkedIn and how you do that. I'm also going to share with you my LinkedIn page, And we're going to go from the top to the bottom, making sure that we understand how you get the most out of your entire profile. I have seen thousands upon thousands of LinkedIn profiles in the work that I do, and I used to be a recruiter, and I know immediately what someone is missing from their profile. It really doesn't take a long time for you to get comfortable using the website and then comfortable connecting and messaging with others. I'm going to talk a little bit about thought leadership. If you've joined my other workshops, thought leadership is something that I touch on that's a little bit more advanced. And what that means is, how do you show up as a subject matter expert in the work that you do? And so, for example, if someone was looking for a Latina that does user experience in Seattle, how can they think of you versus anyone else that may be out there doing the same work? You want to be seen as a subject matter expert in something. And what we're going to do today is make sure that you get clear on what that something is for you. And then, of course, we're going to talk about building strategic connections. Should you connect with anyone and everyone on LinkedIn? Or should you only connect with people that you've met or that you have something in common with? Should we be connecting with people that are not in the same country, right? And so I'm going to answer all those questions that I know you have. So let's get down to business. LinkedIn versus every other social media platform. Number one, it's the most professional platform that you're going to engage with. When you're having conversations on Facebook, you know that it's friends and family and people talking about like their dogs or happy birthday, mom, or look, I cooked spaghetti today, right? Instagram is a little bit more personal, perhaps even a little bit more business. But when you're engaging with people on Instagram, you have no idea who's on the other side of that profile. The reason why I love networking and connecting with people on LinkedIn is because I can click on their profiles and know exactly what type of work they've done in the past, their career trajectory, how much experience they have, and if they're a subject matter expert on anything. I get a lot of requests from the Latinista side from people saying, hey, I'm a business coach, or hey, I'd love to do a workshop for the Latinista on X. And I'm like, oh, this is great. Your LinkedIn looks a little bit different from your Instagram. It actually looks like you're a full-time nurse, which is okay. But the fact that on LinkedIn, you're one person as a nurse, and then on Instagram, you're selling a different type of coaching service, that doesn't really jive with me. I want to make sure that I teach people how to share everything that they do, whether you're a Zumba instructor, you're also a nurse, you sell cupcakes on the side, and you help St. Jude fundraise. All of those things make up who you are as an individual, as well as a professional. You have to understand how you can articulate on your LinkedIn profile all of those things, so that when I go look at your profile, I can say, oh, cool, she's a nurse. She also does this business on the side. She sells cupcakes and she helps St. Jude fundraise. Awesome. I know what she's about. But when you start creating profiles that are so different from each other and who you are, that doesn't really work for me. And so the next thing is LinkedIn is primarily used to show people where you've worked before, right? Your career history. What people miss when working on LinkedIn is actually future information. And so not only do you want to tell people what you've done in the past, but it's also very important to let them know what you're looking to do in the future. And so maybe you do accounting right now, but in the future, you'd love to do event planning. On your LinkedIn profile, you should figure out what volunteer initiatives you've done already, so that when someone looks at your profile, they can say, oh, yes, she's an accountant, but I see that she does some event planning on the side. Okay, she's legit. She's trying to transition. It's also very important to understand that if you're building a community, or let's say you want to mentor a young Latina in getting into STEM, you have to say that on your LinkedIn so that when I find you on LinkedIn and I read your About Me section, I can say, oh, wow, cool. She's creating a community for young Latinas to study STEM, and she's going to be mentoring them. Ooh, can I send her someone? Right? And so we're going to walk through a couple of different areas of your profile that are so important so that I can take action. I can send you a message, I can ask you a question, or I can send you a referral for your business. I can make a donation, or I can send you a young Latina that may need your mentorship, right? So remember, it's not just your resume and what you've done in the past, it's what you're looking to do in the future that you need to put on LinkedIn. I told you a little bit about thought leadership. What does that mean? It's making sure that people see you as a subject matter expert. And so, for example, when anyone thinks about LinkedIn, they always think of me. People call me the LinkedIn ninja. That's what I'm a subject matter expert in. And so it's so important that you get very clear what you're a subject matter expert in. And once you start posting, you'll start to brand yourself as such. Thought leadership is the fact that people are going to know what you're really great at. They're going to call you a leader in that industry, and they're going to seek you out for that work. And then, of course, number 4, strategic connections, making sure that you connect with people that you're going to mutually benefit from. So maybe someone connects with you and they need help finding a job where you work. But it's also important to understand how they can help you, right? You never want to feel like someone is taking constantly from you. You have to be able to understand how you can help them and vice versa. It's called reciprocity. Number 5, it's always important to promote your team members. So for example, if you say that you've just won an award or you created a new program at work, it's important to give thanks and kudos to your colleagues and your coworkers that actually helped you get there. It's really important to respect that. When people see you do that on LinkedIn, they'll respect the fact that, wow, she did win this award, but it wasn't on her own. These people in her community or her department helped her do that. And then last but not least, self-promotion, but in the most humble way. The number 1 challenge that I hear from people that they have on LinkedIn is that they don't want to brag. They don't want to say like, oh, look at me, I won this award. Oh, wow, I just got promoted, or I got, an increase in salary. That's the number 1 challenge that people have, being able to share their wins and accomplishments without sounding like they're bragging or boasting. And so it's really important for you to understand how you can do that in the most humble way. And the reason why you want to self-promote is if you don't share what you've learned or what you've accomplished with your industry or your community or the people that follow you, they're not going to understand what you've been learning and accomplishing, right? They're kind of going to want to say, oh yeah, she's really great, but I have no idea what she does for work. Has she been promoted? Does she do any good work? I don't know. Is she in marketing or something, right? And so you want to make sure that you're teaching someone how you're evolving as a leader. And the way in which you teach them is about where and when you post. And I'm going to be sharing a lot of that information with you. And so when you start thinking about your unique value proposition, I want you to start writing down a very clear statement for yourself. This statement is going to include how you solve problems or improve a situation. So think of it, you're in an interview, right? You're in a waiting room, waiting to sit down with the hiring manager, and they ask you, why should I hire you instead of the rest of those 15 people that literally do the same job as you and went to the same school and have similar experience? So you need to be able to understand how you solve problems, and improve a situation. Also, how you deliver specific benefits and value, and why they should work with you and no one else. And what I want you to think about is not these like blanket terms like, oh, I'm a team player, I have great communication skills. But I want you to go deeper. I want you to start thinking in tools and resources and how you're vastly different from everyone else. And so I'll give you an example. And so if I was, right, engaging in a conversation with a hiring manager, I'd say, I have an incredible network. I'm a great communicator. I'm extremely resourceful, especially when it comes to technology. I know how to use Trello, Slack, Asana, Google Slides, Canva to design, create, execute, strategize. I have multiple screens. You can't send me an email that I won't reply to in 10 hours or less, usually like 5 minutes, unless I'm presenting. But making sure that you are so specific in the tools you have access to and how you're using those tools to separate you from everyone else. If you use these blanket terms like, oh, I'm a great communicator, I'm a great team player, I love people, everyone is using those. And so you have to be able to tie what that job is about and then be able to say, I'm an expert in Excel. I know how to use Canva to design and present. I'll be able to use data, insights, and numbers to tell a story. Let me show you how, right? I need you to start getting very clear as to how you are so different from everyone else that seems like they can do the type of work you do. I want you all to take some time later on to do an activity I like to call perception analysis. The first step in this activity is I want you to write down 3 words or phrases that describe you as a professional. Remember, let's not use any blanket terms or fluffy, cute words. Get very specific. I am extremely resourceful in technology tools. I am analytical and can use data, numbers, and insights to create a story, right? So start writing down those words and phrases that describe you as a unique professional. The second step in this activity is you then texting or emailing a colleague or someone that knows you as a professional. And what I want you to do is ask them how they perceive you as a professional. And so I've taken the liberty, as you can see it on your screen right now, there's an example that you can take and text a friend or a coworker or a colleague that knows you as a professional. I want to read it out loud for those of you that can't see the slides. It says, "Hi, Deb. I'm working on my professional brand strategy. And I was wondering if you can send me 3 words or phrases that you would use to describe me as a professional. If you can send this to me by the end of the day, that would be great. Thanks so much." And so the idea of this activity is the fact that you started drafting words and phrases that described you as a professional, right? Once you start getting words and phrases from your colleagues, what I want you to think about is, do they match? So if you see yourself as an analytical, extremely resourceful, data analysis, enthusiast that understands how to use different technology platforms, all these things. And then when you get the words from your coworkers or colleagues and it says things like, oh, she's really great. She's so fun. She's bubbly. She's wonderful with the community. She does awesome work, I think, with technology. That's when the alarm sort of goes off. You have to realize that if your words don't match the energy that the words your colleagues are saying about you, that's when we have an opportunity to start branding yourself. What we want to do is get as close as possible so that when people perceive us as professionals, they start using the words that we actually have about ourselves. And one way in which you can start doing that is through LinkedIn. Every post, every article, how you're connecting and engaging and commenting with other people. And also when you're in meetings, right? And so what you can say is, hey, Bob, I have a question. You know, I'm extremely analytical. I love numbers. I'm really good at Excel. Are you saying that our numbers haven't changed from last week to this week? You know, I love numbers and I use Excel a lot and I'm extremely analytical. So what you're doing there is you're teaching not only Bob, but everyone else who's listening to you about what you're good at. Next time someone goes to describe the type of person you are or the type of work you do, they're hopefully going to use those words that you've just laid out about yourself. And what you need to do is take those words and use them in your resume and use them in your LinkedIn profile. So now that we've got your superpowers in order, right? The way in which you differentiate yourself from everyone else that can do the same job as you, now we're going to start branding you. And of course, you guys see your chat box on the right. Feel free to drop in any questions or comments that you have because I'm watching the chat box while we're here. I want to share with you that most people are challenged when it comes to LinkedIn, specifically around branding themselves because they do so many things. We are what I like to call multi-passionate, multifaceted individuals. Like I said, you're an accountant by day, you like volunteer Zumba on the weekend, you also sell cupcakes, you have an Etsy shop, and maybe you like to work out. You're a marathon runner. And so what's important to be able to lay out is all of those things that you do on your LinkedIn. And as you see on my screen here, this is one of my really great friends, Alex. She's incredible. She's the founder of Yuka Lab, which is a media company. They do social media strategy. She also is the founder of Latinas in Media, a huge community of Latinas in all types of media spaces. She does content marketing. She does Spanish transcreation, which is not translation. And if you don't know what that means, connect with Alex on LinkedIn and tell her you just saw her profile. And she helps companies connect to the Hispanic market. I want you to notice this big image. That's what's called the banner image on your LinkedIn profile. If you don't have a picture there now, you can actually choose one that LinkedIn has for free. So you would go to edit your profile. You would click on a little pencil right by the gray banner box that you get by default if you don't have a picture. Once you click on that little pencil, it's going to bring up like 15 different banner images that LinkedIn has for free. I'm going to show you my profile in a minute so that you can see my LinkedIn banner. And if you have a business or if you want to launch a business, this banner is so important. The idea for this banner is to show what your company stands for, your company logo, or if you love travel, this map. Maybe it's you on your computer, your email address, your website. Maybe it's you just volunteering. Anything is going to be able to separate you from everyone else that does similar work. So important. What I want you to keep in mind is that your professional and personal brand should be as dynamic as you are. And everything that you post, whether it's a status update or an article that you wrote or a New York Times article that you dropped into your feed, it's all going to start to brand who you are. I say that because when people are on your profile reading about you and researching you, everything that you've liked or posted starts to build an image. And the other part that's super important for your profile is the About Me section. So many people actually misconstrue this as being part of their bio. or their resume. It's none of that. I'm going to show you my About Me section, and I'm going to walk you through what your About Me section should say. And it should always be in the first person. And so here's my About Me section of my profile. So it's your banner image, your headshot, a very professional headshot, not a selfie, right? You want to have natural light. With iPhones that we have these days, put it on portrait mode, throw on a filter, put on a really bright necklace or a t-shirt or a blazer, and take a couple of images that you're happy with, right? If you're a photographer, then you should have your camera in the shot. If you're a vet, then you should have a little puppy in the shot. If you're a marathon runner, it should be a picture of you running with a sports bib, with your number. Your headshot can be as creative as you are. And so there are 4 different parts of an About Me section. The first part is who you are as an industry professional. This is going to say, for example, Maria has been in the executive management space for the last 15 years. And then we get a little bit deeper. Mine is a little different because I'm a consultant and I'm an entrepreneur. But for those of you who are professionals, it should be who you are as an experienced professional, very high level. And then the next part is a little bit deeper. The role that you have at your current company and what you do at that company. So for me, I'm a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant. And then I'm a LinkedIn ninja. I also founded the Latinista. And then last but not least, your call to action. That's the 4th part. So for you, it's going to be very high level. Accounting professional for the last 15 years in various industries, knowledgeable in blah, blah, blah. Then you go a little deeper. At XYZ company, I currently hold the role as VP of strategic blah, blah, blah. I manage and I execute X, Y, and Z. Then you go a little bit deeper. It needs to now get a little bit more personal. I am building a community for Latina professionals. I am looking to mentor young Latinas who are looking for careers in STEM. If you or someone you know is interested in a mentor like me, please connect, right? That would be your call to action. For me, it's a little bit different because I do consulting and I do public speaking. And so I'm selling my corporate training services. And I also tell people about my consulting work, my LinkedIn strategy clients and work, the community that I founded, the Latinista, and then my call to action. Connect with me because I can do X, Y, and Z, right? This should never be your resume. This should never be your background only, but think of it as what you do, yes, but what you're building for the future is most important. Now, if you've ever asked yourself, my goodness, what should I even post about? So this is the area that we're going to talk about, that you're going to get very clear on what to post about. I want you to start choosing with 3 topics. Answer these questions if you don't know what 3 topics you're interested in. What do you want to be known for? What's your biggest subject matter expertise? And what are you interested in sharing with your audience? And so I want to share with you what mine are. Anything diversity, equity, and inclusion related. I also post about the Latinista and Latina professionals in general. I also talk about community engagement, right? So I sit on a few nonprofit boards and I help them with fundraising. And then lastly, I love helping people find jobs. Those are my 4 core areas. I want you to get very clear about what you care about. Once you understand what your areas of expertise are or what you want to post about, that's when you can start being consistent and saying, every Monday, I'm going to post at 10 a.m. I'm going to Google an article about Latina entrepreneurs. I'm going to drop it on LinkedIn and ask a question. so that you can start engaging your community, right? That's what's going to build your thought leadership and your brand. If you are constantly posting about user experience in the Latino market, people are then obviously going to think of you as a subject matter expert on user experience in the Latino market, right? So it's just being consistent. You don't have to be clever with creating your own graphics. You have to just consistently find articles that you care about in these 3 core areas so that you can consistently post on Mondays at 10, right? And once you start posting those articles, people that care about those areas are going to start connecting with you. Once you're connected with the right people, then and only then will your engagement, your comments, and your likes go up, right? People always ask me, Jai, I'm posting, but nobody's liking. I'm like, it's because you're connected to people who don't care about what you're posting, literally. So find what you're passionate about. Find articles that you can post every Monday, ask a question to your audience, and then start engaging them and adding people that are going to care about these topics. When you should post, according to Hootsuite, the best time to post on LinkedIn is in the morning, because that's when people log on, and then at 5:45 Eastern time, because that's typically when people start relaxing and disconnecting from emails, and they want to do something a little bit more casual than deeper work. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about thought leadership and what that means. I'm sharing here with you a post that I did 2 years ago. I'm going to read it out loud for those of you who cannot see the screen. It says, for the first time, nearly 200 Latino leaders are sitting inside the UN General Assembly conference room to discuss strategies to move the Latino community forward. It's the Hispanic Summit 2018, and the theme is Latinos. Unidos, we are strong. In attendance, there are, right? And so what I did here now is I tagged a bunch of my friends that are at the conference with me. Then I asked a question. It says, want to get involved? Learn more. I dropped in the website of the conference. And then I said, and contact Claudia. She's the mastermind behind this incredible program, right? So I laid out everything that's happening at this conference. I tagged people who were involved. I listed the website, I tagged the founder, I used hashtags, and then I'm engaging with people in my post. I posted pictures not just of me, but of the entire conference and of course of my friends that were there joining me. And as you can see, really, really small there, I got 804 likes and 55 comments from people being like, wow, this is great. What came of it? How much money was raised? What were the findings that were shared? Please share the reports and the screenshots and the surveys, blah, 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 right? And so when we do our thought leadership, it's understanding what our community wants to see. There's a very thin line with, hey, look at me, I was at this super cool conference and I'm giving people access who didn't have an opportunity to be there. Now they know what happened, what it was about, who pulled it together, and who else was there. The importance of me tagging who else was there is so that you can then go add all of these people and say, hey, Sid, hey, Laura, hey, Heidi, I saw that you were at this conference with Jai. Let's connect. That's literally it. It's literally that easy. Don't make this more complicated than it should be. Are you all following? Now we're going to talk about strategic connections. Do you all connect with just anyone on LinkedIn or only people that you've met? Let me know in the comments and in the chat box. And when you are reaching out to someone, what do you say? Do you just send them a random, already populated message? Or are you very strategic in that ask? I want to show you the message that I send every single person that I request and that requests me. Here's my message. And I'm going to read it for those of you who cannot see the screen. Hi, and thanks for connecting. I do diversity and ERG programming for corporations. And I dropped in my website. I also founded a group for Latinas and women of color invested in career and leadership development called the Latinista. I hope you can join us at our next webinar. And I dropped in the Latinista website. And then I closed it out by saying, please do let me know how I can help you. Yeah, I love that. Melissa is saying both, and I always send a message. Awesome. Cheyenne, thank you for being here. You are awesome. Cheyenne is saying, I typically don't send an overview, but that's great advice. So the idea here is when you connect with someone who's really influential and powerful and works at X company, maybe you don't need a job right now, but in 6 months or 6 years, you're like, oh, wow. Now she works at this other company and I need to get in there. And then all of a sudden you send her a message and you're like, oh, I feel weird because I'm connected with her, but I never sent her a message. That's why it's so important to send a message to every single person you connect with. And it can be something as simple as, hey, Donna, I see that you're the chief marketing officer at Target. I can't wait to see your posts. Let's connect. That's it. Not that serious, super simple. Or, hey, Johnny, I see that you're also studying user experience at IBM. I'd love to see your posts about what you are all building there. Let's connect. That's it. Not a big deal. Right? Or maybe you're looking for a job and you want to be more progressive. You can start saying, hey, Maria, I saw a job posting that Bumble was looking for a marketing associate. I have applied for the role and I'd really love to connect with you for 10 minutes to see how you like working there and how I may be able to connect with someone in HR, right? Be as straightforward and as humble as you possibly can. If you're looking for a job, you literally have to find that department and everyone who works there so you can send them a message, and they're the ones that are going to actually make sure your resume gets seen. If you're hoping that you're going to apply and somehow somebody's going to see your resume, it's not how that works nowadays. If you're looking to get into a company and there's a very specific job you want, you need to find who works at that company, in that department, who reports to who, and send a message to all those people. And then send a message to me, because I probably have like 26 friends that work there. And then I'm going to connect you with all of them. And then you're going to say to them, I need 10 minutes of your time so that I can show you why I'd be awesome at this job. I applied. Can you connect me with HR? Right? So important. Here's a little bit of homework that I have for you. I want you to reach out to your network. I want you to get those words that they use to describe you. I want you to get comfortable branding yourself on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. When I look you up on all of those profiles, I need to understand that this is the same person. I don't want you to be a nurse on Facebook, a business coach on Twitter, and then a tax professional on LinkedIn. No, I need you to come to terms with everything that you do is professional and it makes up who you are, and you're awesome. And you should be comfortable telling everyone exactly what you do to a certain extent, right? You don't have to tell anybody about your kids or what school they go to or anything like that. Remember, LinkedIn is all about your profession. And if your profession is Zumba and accounting and you're a DJ on the side and you sell cupcakes, then so be it. That's awesome. I want to know that because I want to support you. I want you to identify your 3 core pillars because remember, this is going to give you clarity on what you're going to be posting about. When people find your profile and you're not posting about anything, they're going to be like, oh, she's clueless. She has no idea what she's even doing here. But if you start posting articles about what you're passionate about, they're going to be like, wow, she is interested in environmental health or climate change. Now I see it. I want you to start sharing content. If you don't know what to post, post a conference, post about the next Latinista event, post a job that you see someone is hiring for, post a resource like Crowdcast or Trello or LinkedIn. I want you to get used to connecting with like at least 5 people a week, very strategically, right? If you want to be a chief marketing officer one day, then start connecting with chief marketing officers. You should be in the company of people that you want to be like, right? Because when you're posting about marketing content, then it's going to be really great for them to understand exactly what you're passionate about. And once you're posting things that that marketing executive is interested in, that's when your engagement, your likes, and your comments are going to go up. And then lastly, I want you to start developing your auto connection message. Remember, every time that you reach out to someone, you have to tell them what you're looking for or what you do, whether you're accepting a connection or whether you are sending a connection. And now what I'm going to show you is my screen here. I want to share with you my LinkedIn profile. And if you have any questions, drop it in the chat box because I can see it there. Here we go. Now I'm sharing with you my LinkedIn profile. What I want to show you is my profile. So this is probably going to take me a little bit. I want you to see this. As you see here, as we were talking about before, here is my profile. Remember the top image that you see where it says be an ally? These are actually free banners that LinkedIn gives you access to. Please, if you don't do anything at all, or if you do one thing, go on there, edit your profile, upload one of your pictures of you volunteering or one of these really pretty LinkedIn images. Because as soon as a recruiter or anyone comes onto your page, you want to make a statement. The next thing that I want to point out is my headshot. I was at a networking event. Somebody took a picture of me. Ooh, that's another pro tip. If you're at an event soon, hopefully sometime this year, and there's a professional photographer, pull them aside and say, hey, do you mind taking a picture of me? I don't have any headshots. I'd love for you to take a picture of me. I can't tell you how many times I've done this because it's a professional photographer. And then so once they get a couple of good shots with you, right, against a pretty background, you give them your cell phone number or your business card immediately. And you say to them, do you mind sending me personally that headshot? I would really appreciate it. I'm so, so thankful. Do you know how many professional headshots I have because I found a random photographer at a networking event that had a professional camera? I have paid $250 for a professional headshot, but I have so many free ones because every time that I go to a networking event, I'm like, ooh, professional photographer. Let me give him my cell phone number and he's going to send me the picture tonight or tomorrow. Right? And so sometimes they even edit it for me, or I'll just throw a filter on myself or send it to a friend who knows how to use Photoshop. And then as you see here, as we go down on my profile, I don't just do one thing. On my headline, you'll see I'm a diversity and inclusion consultant. I'm a LinkedIn networking ninja. I'm founder of the Latinista, right? I'm an author and I'm a speaker. Thank you, Jose. I love it. Yes, professional photographers, grab them. This other area here that you'll only see on your profile, but I'm sharing my screen, you see where it says open to work, right? So I actually have a bunch of job opportunities because I wanted to show you what that looks like. When you are looking for a job, there's a special area on LinkedIn where you have to make sure that you've filled out all of the areas so that you can be actively looking. What I'll also say is there is a special profile called a recruiter seat. Say you work at company X, but you're actually looking for a new job. And if you put that you're open to new job opportunities, the recruiters at company X won't actually be able to see that you're open to new job opportunities. So don't worry about that. There are recruiters that pay $12,000 for a very special LinkedIn profile that sit in HR. Even those people can't have access to knowing that you are open for a new job while working here at company X. So hopefully you understood that, and you're going to be way more transparent with your job search. So here's the area that I was mentioning and I showed you before. Here's my About Me section. Remember, it's always important to make this section very personal. It should read like a story. As you can see, it's very easy to read, very simple, and it's always in the first person. I'm not trying to impress anyone. I'm not trying to be like, YAI Vargas is an executive with 15 or 20 years of experience, blah, blah. No, that's not what we're here for. This should be a safe space for you to connect with other professionals. They should feel so comfortable reaching out to you immediately and saying, oh, wow, you do really great work. I want to connect with you. Remember, you have to have your email address right there, your website right there, and your call to action right there. People shouldn't be wondering, what does he do? What kind of work does she do? What does an account executive do? What's a software developer? You have to start being as transparent as possible. This area here is called your feature section. You can put up pictures, videos, and articles about yourself or the work that you do, something that's important to you. As you can see, the first thing that you see in my features, I actually put up a poll on LinkedIn, and I asked people how they identify, whether it was Hispanic, Latino, or Latinx, and I had people voting. As you can see, almost 1,300 people actually voted on my poll. If we keep going down, this is the activity area. So you'll see what I've liked and have commented on recently. So when you're on someone else's profile, like mine or Maria's or anyone else's, you'll be able to look at this area and see how she's engaging with other people, liking and commenting. You'll also see how many followers that person has. So I have over 20,000 followers here. You can click on See Activity to see their articles, their posts, and their comments. As we scroll down, what's so important is for you to write in all of your experiences what you do, what company. Make sure that it's connected so that there's a little logo on all of those companies. You have to write their website, your email, and you can link their website. You can link a photo. You can link a project. And as you see here, I have like 3 sentences. I don't go on and on and on and on. I'm not trying to impress anyone here. It's just the facts, just simple information. I actually am a collaboration partner with another consulting agency. I'm also an advisor and an investor in a diversity platform. I have a bunch of full-time jobs. I also founded the Latinista, and I have a bunch of links and videos that you can see. So all of my roles, as you can see here, are pretty short. I want to point this one out. You see where it says Arcos Communications, and there's this little funky gray logo box. That means that that company hasn't opened up their LinkedIn company page. And so I wasn't able to link it so that their logo comes up. Very important for you to link it to the right company, right? And all the way back to when I started my career at Mercedes-Benz headquarters in 2004. What I will add is that I don't put jobs or experiences that are 20 years ago where I used to work in retail, because that's not relevant to the work that I'm doing now or want to do in the future. Only add work that's very relevant to what you're doing now or in the future. And as we continue to scroll down, make sure that your education is there, any courses or certifications that you've taken, right? You can actually take some courses on LinkedIn, which you see me doing here, and all of your volunteer experience as well. I do a lot of volunteering, and so I have them all listed here. Skills and endorsements is not important at all. Do not waste your time on this area. Nobody's going to read this. It means nothing. don't even worry about this area. The most important area, I think, of a LinkedIn profile is recommendations. You can talk about yourself the entire time, but what's most important is what other people are saying about you. And so as you can see here, I have 23 received recommendations from people that I am a vendor for, right? So this is my clients, a bunch of clients of mine write me recommendations, and I've given 33 recommendations. This is the most important part of your profile. I'm going to give you a pro tip. So I want you to have at least 3 recommendations on your profile, relevant and current ones. And I'm going to give you a tip. The way in which you can get recommendations quickly is you actually writing it for them. And so I'll give you an example. If you go to Maria's page and you say, hey, Maria, I need a recommendation from you for that volunteer work we did for St. Jude. I took the liberty of writing a little paragraph. Feel free to edit or change it as you wish. Thank you so much. That way, when Maria receives this message through LinkedIn, she can look at it, add a few words and be like, yeah, this sounds really good. She approves it, and then it automatically goes onto your profile and it looks just like this. So that expedites the process. Because if you ask Maria or Daniela or Mario or Jose for a recommendation, they're going to be like, oh, what project did we work on? When was that? What can I say? And it'll take them a long time. So pro tip, write it for them and get that done immediately. Let's see what else. Accomplishments, you can write down projects you've worked on and with who. Awards and honors, languages, organizations that you're invested in, and any books you've written. Interests, it's not even important. Those are the most important aspects of your profile. And so I want to jump back in, and I have a question. Jose is asking, what if your company is not a supporter of recommendations? That's an interesting question. So it shouldn't, I don't know what your question is. What if your company is not a supporter of recommendations? So what you want to do is literally ask your colleague or your coworker that works with you to write you a personal recommendation. You're not asking company X or the CEO or the vice president. You're literally asking your coworker or someone who has worked with you who can talk about your character or that project to write about you and who you are as a person. What I think you may be getting at is maybe you work in an industry where compliance may not allow you to collect recommendations or testimonials. Is that what you're talking about, Jose? Maybe, yes. Oh, I know that all too well. I came from an industry in financial services that literally owns you. And so that's a challenge. You know, unfortunately, you have to abide within those compliance guidelines, but make sure, yes, I know exactly where you're coming from. Make sure that you sit down with that social media manager and the person in compliance so that you can get very clear as to the parameters. Make sure that you are very specific in letting them know this recommendation that Daniela is going to send me is only going to talk about who I am as a person. She's going to talk about how easy it is to work with me. She's not going to talk about products. She's not going to name the company that I work at, and she's not going to talk about how I sold this product to her. Here's an example of the recommendation that I wrote for Daniela to say about me. Literally give that to compliance and say, is this okay for Daniela to write about me? And get their verbal and email approval, because you got to cover your booty, and make sure that you have that in an email and you're able to say, all right, Daniela, I've gotten something approved. You can say this about me, how easy it was to work with me, my character, how you enjoyed working with me, right? Don't name the company, don't name the product, don't name anyone. So I know exactly where you're coming from. And so this has been wonderful. I'm so excited. Let's see. I have another question. How do you set that up in LinkedIn, the auto connection message? Great question. I want to clarify that. I know that I said it's an auto connection message. It doesn't automatically send it out for you. Here's a pro tip that goes along with that. On your computer, and remember, try to get used to using LinkedIn only on Google Chrome and only on your laptop computer, not just on your phone, because a lot of features don't work. What you're going to do is open up this thing called sticky notes on your desktop. Every computer has it, and it's literally like this, a sticky note, but on your desktop. And on your sticky note, you are going to type on your desktop your passwords, stuff you have to remember, and that connection message that I showed you. The idea behind this is you're going to have your LinkedIn screen open. Your sticky note is always going to live on your desktop. What you're going to do is copy and paste that message so that every time someone wants to connect with you, you're copying and pasting, copying and pasting, copying and pasting. Never use someone's name because you're going to mess up. Always copy that, automatically send it to every single person that wants to connect with you. That's what I meant with auto connection. Have it open, copy from the sticky note, paste it in your LinkedIn over and over and over and over. Jennifer is asking, if I ask someone in a higher position for a recommendation, they ask me to write it for them. I add the key points and projects to highlight, and they can update and add to it if they want. Exactly. Right on the money, Jennifer. You know it. And you're also a social media manager, so you're very used to this. It's just like asking for a recommendation letter. You're writing it for them so that it's easy for them to edit and approve. That's how LinkedIn works. Yeah, sticky notes are incredible. You can't see my desktop right now, but I have like 3 sticky notes and I have all of my messages. You have to also understand that those messages you have on your sticky notes can differ. Maybe on this one, I'm looking for a job. Maybe on this one, I'm talking about Latinista. Maybe on this one, I'm talking about LinkedIn and a conference that I'm promoting. You have your passwords. You have your websites that are most visited, right? And so make sure that you're focusing on making this as easy a process as possible. So before we close up here, please share with me any questions that you might have. Of course, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm going to drop in my name, even though you probably have it. There's my name. Look for me on LinkedIn. I'm the only one. That's why it's good to have a unique name like Cheyenne Brunette. And thank you all so much for being here. I'm super appreciative of you all taking the time and the energy to learn this platform. I have gotten every single job that I've ever had in corporate America through LinkedIn connections. I literally found the job, applied for it, found the person that works there, sent them a message, got them on the phone. I have helped so many people find jobs just by connecting them with people that already do that work in that company. LinkedIn is incredible. Another thing that I'll add, never pay for LinkedIn Premium. They're going to kill me for saying this, but I don't work for them. They don't pay me. I have never paid for LinkedIn Premium in the last 14 years that I've used LinkedIn. Everything that I showed you today is with the free version of LinkedIn. Do not spend money that you don't need to spend, right? Be bold, be courageous. If you find someone that you want to connect with that is doing what you want to do in the future, reach out to them. The only thing that they can do is not reply, or they can say no. That's fine. There's a million other people just like them. And so be bold. If you still need some help and you want me to hold your hand a little bit more, I'm always available on LinkedIn. Shoot me a message, shoot me a video on WhatsApp. I'm always available to you all. I hope that you're all going to join us on the Latinista. I'm so glad that you came, Cheyenne and Jose and Jenny. You guys are incredible, as well as Melissa. Thank you all so much for being here. Maria Brunette, your mom, is an incredible supporter, and she has done so much for this community. I hope that you all can join us at the Latinista events coming up. We have 4 incredible events. Our website is thelatinista.com. I will type it in here just so you can go right to it. and join us next time. I appreciate you all. Have an incredible weekend or rest of the week, and thank you for connecting. Hope you learned something new.